supporting them. Very excited that we're coming. They listed us as like their top supporter. So they kind of like a bunch of stuff. We're doing parade laps on the track and stuff. But that is a wonderful organization, Operation Motorsport.
That's awesome. I wrote it down to look more. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our April meeting. Today we're gonna be talking about employment. But before we jump in, I'll just start with our objectives of the Vmfa. If you're new, the Vmfa stands for Veterans, Military, and Families Alliance. We meet every month and we talk about a different social determinant of health each time. So our group objectives are to identify gaps, opportunities, and barriers in service to improve service for veterans and military families, coordinate information on services for veterans and military families, and educate veterans, military families, and community advocates on community-based efforts in suicide prevention. So today, we have two guest speakers to kind of share about what they offer. We have Salwa Caldwell, the North Carolina Military OneSource State Consultant, and Dave Rakes, the Director of Veteran Employment for NC4Me. So I'm very excited to have them with us. Salwa's here in person and Dave is virtual joining. Before we jump in, we're just going to go around the room with our introductions. Please share your name, your organization, your military affiliation, and we're going to do a little poll today. Please share your first job. So I'll start. My name is Landry Young. I'm the Marketing and Outreach Manager here at the Joel Fund. My military connection is my husband, currently serving at Fort Bragg. My first job was Sonic. I was a car hop. Brooke, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Brooke Dickhart. I'm the Executive Director of the Joel Fund. My military connection is that my dad was in the Navy. And my first job was, I grew up in Virginia Beach and we had a water park called Wild Water Rapids, and I worked in the concession stand and took orders. I was 15. My parents had to drive me.
I've been there.
We'll go counterclockwise.
Lee Winslow, I'm with the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association. Military affiliation, I'm a veteran myself, combat veteran. First job, can't really tell you what they called me, but I was the laborer for a motorcycle, like dirt bikes and stuff, shop. So I cleaned them up and helped them in the back and all that kind of stuff. Can you explain what CVMA is?
Sure.
So Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, we are, our motto is vets helping vets. We provide a more grassroots place for veterans who are whatever. If you're having a hard time, we just need a place to talk. We provide a good opportunity for you just to do that. We also support other veteran organizations, which like with Joel Fund and stuff like that. So we do everything we can for those that who have served our country and those that are serving our veteran community.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Victoria Knott with the Work for Warriors North Carolina. We also work with employment and all services that go along with employment for veterans, service members, dependents, including the working age dependents, the children. And my father was a veteran, my brother, my nephews, and I've been working with veterans probably one way or another for about 25 years. So I started when I was 2.
What was your first job?
Oh, I worked in a daycare center.
Oh, nice.
In a daycare center.
I'm Tony Burke, Marine Corps veteran, with Veterans Bridge Homes. We're a nonprofit that connects service members, military members, transition veterans and their families to resources. We have an employment portal under the VBH Heroes on our website. My first job is I worked on the farm. So, picking from cucumbers, random tree berries, fruits, and tobacco.
Wow.
Yes, I did it as a kid, and then military was my second official job that I got to keep all the money. I gave to my mom.
My name is Isabella Brzezinski. I'm the Operation Art Program Manager here at the Joel Fund. My dad is an Army veteran, and my first job was babysitting. And I also had to be dropped off. I was like 13. So, I was paid.
Did you see the money?
Yes.
$6 an hour.
I don't remember what it was. I don't know. It was not bad.
Now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yep.
Okay, my name is Salwa Caldwell. I'm the military OneSource state consultant. Probably met some people out there with us online. My military affiliation is my husband's active duty Army, and I'm an Air Force reservist. So I've been in North Carolina for 4 years. My first job is I worked at, I sold car radios and phone accessories. We were also like a kind of a workshop. We repair electronics. So. And that was overseas. I was born and raised in Bahrain, so I'm a foreign-born spouse too. So my first job, I was 18 years old. So I mean, because like back in our country, a lot of people don't work when they're in the school. So we get out, then we start working. So yeah.
Thank you. We'll go online. Do you want to call them out?
Sure. Lauren?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Hedgepeth. I am also with Work for Warriors, work alongside Victoria Knott. I am a veteran, married to a veteran, and my first job was actually joining the military.
Nice. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Matt.
David?
Yep. Good afternoon, everyone. Dave Rakes, retired Marine as well. Director of Veteran Employment for NC. For me, first job growing up was kind of twofold. Grew up on a farm, so hauling hay, a lot of the good stuff there, getting paid for that during the summer times, but also first official job, getting a paycheck cut to me was a grocer or a bagger at a grocery store in my small town in Texas. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Siobhan?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Siobhan Norris, Director for Wake County Veteran Services, on the road today, so apologies. First job was scooping ice cream at Baskin Robbins.
Nice. Thank you. Yesenia?
Hi, everyone. Military veteran, Marine Corps. I am a mother, sister-in-law, and a whole bunch of others in the military, cousin, nephews, all so big military family. I work for Hire Heroes USA. We do federal employment. Well, my specialty is federal employment, but we do all other employments as well. First official job was, I come from an immigrant family, so pulling in the fields, sugar beets. However, my first job where I get to keep my money was working for my father in his snow cone machine, making all the syrups for the snow cones and stuff like that. So
Awesome. I love it. Thank you. Julie?
Hi, I'm Julie Dolan Adamson. I'm a board member for the Joel Fund. My military connection, my father was Army, and Brooke is my sister-in-law. So her father is a connection for me as well. Let's see, first job. I worked the front desk of the dance studio that I attended. Pretty sure I wasn't even old enough to really be employed. Anyway,
Awesome.
learned how to, yeah.
Thank you. Allie?
Hi, everyone. I'm Allie Anderson. I'm the Community Care Manager here at the Joel Fund. Both my parents are Air Force veterans. My sister's active duty Air Force, and my husband and I are stationed at Fort Bragg. He's in the Army. My first job in standard military kid fashion, I was a bagger at the commissary. So
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Randy?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Randy Silver with NC Works Career Services. We provide employment resources for veterans. My first job, well, I'm an Army veteran, by the way. My first job was like a couple of other ones. I grew up on a farm, so everything on the farm you can imagine. Yeah, I was involved with it somehow or another. But my first W-2 job, I was with Purdue Farms out of Lewiston. Don't ever want to go back.
Thank you. Paul Berry.
Good afternoon, everyone. Paul Berry, retired Marine Network Director for Veterans Bridge Home. I see farming as a kind of a theme. I think I was working for other farmers for pay, but I certainly probably was not old enough legally. And there was certainly no W-2s involved. It was all cash. But first paid job was actually joining the United States Marine Corps. Thanks.
Thank you. Lisa.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Lisa Crum, and I work at the Joel Fund as the grants manager. And my first job was as a cashier at a drugstore where my two managers were Betty and Wilma.
I love it. Thank you. Grace.
My name is Grace Gregory, and I work for Veteran Services of the Carolinas. I'm in for Jen right now. My first job was cleaning beach houses because my dad retired out at Camp Lejeune, so we were right there on the beach and did that at 15 because my sister drove me around to do it.
Nice, thank you. Carla?
Hey everybody, I'm Carla Jackson, Navy veteran and Veteran Services Housing Supervisor for Wake County Veteran Services. And my first job was, you know, when you go to the skate ranch and you have the little person that skates around in the middle that kind of referees everybody. I did that at a very popular place that is no longer around, but it was Jelly Beans in Cary. That was when I was 14.
That is awesome. Sounds fun. That is such a fantastic job. Thank you. Pearl? Pearl, did you want to introduce yourself? Okay, we can come back. Lynn? Oh, yeah. There she is.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lynn Kinney with NC for Me. I'm the Director of Programs and Outreach and retired Marine. Quentin is also here with me. He is, I don't know if you can wave, he's over there. Anyway, he is he's currently on SkillBridge, transitioning Marine First Sergeant as a part of the team. We're integrating with him. And so we just wanted to be sure to provide Dave some support and learn about all the other awesome organizations in the veteran space. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. Oh, first jobs.
Oh, what was your first job?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Quentin Sherman. Like Lynn said, my first job was my grandmother raised hogs, so I had to feed the hogs, had to feed the cows, and we had pet goats as well, so I also had to feed those. First paid job where I received a W-2 was actually Hardee's, so that was my first paid job.
Awesome. I was a babysitter and then a waitress.
Thank you. Monique?
Hello, everyone. My name is Monique Grant. I'm with the 81st Family. I'm a family readiness coordinator for the 81st Division in the Army Reserves. My first and how I am affiliated with the military, I guess. I'm an Army veteran myself. My husband is retired out of the Air Force, and I was a child of an Army retiree as well. What was the last question? Oh, my first job, babysitting.
Nice.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Pearl, were you able to introduce yourself? All right, we can go ahead and get started with our discussion on employment. I think I'll toss it over to Dave online. Could you please explain your role with NC for Me and how your organization serves veterans?
Of course, like I said, Dave Rakes, Director of Veteran Employment for NC for Me. So how I assist the veteran community is simply imagine a facilitator. So as the candidates come in, work with us, reach out to us, looking for career opportunities in the state of North Carolina. We will receive them, do intakes with them via the online process, LinkedIn, text, email, whatever you can imagine, and ultimately try to open up their eyes to what careers are available to them in the state of North Carolina via their knowledge, skills, and abilities, whatever skill set they got in the military. Oftentimes we see coming out of the service, their aperture is very narrow. We try to open it up and broaden their vision, if you will, to certain careers out there. And on the flip side, making connections with companies that value hiring military talent. So ultimately facilitating that career connection where they can have a conversation either via the talent or via with the company, and ultimately try to give them a meaningful career.
Thank you. Salwa, same question to you. How do you with Military OneSource serve veterans?
Yeah, so my role is to educate service members, service providers, military leaders about our program to increase awareness, because a lot of service members or even service providers think that Military OneSource only offer counseling, but we do offer a lot. I like to tell service members and service providers, we're pretty much one-stop shop. We help with employment, education, we provide them with resources for scholarship, and we do have scholarship for spouses as well. So as much as I connect with service providers, that's so you guys know what we offer, then you can educate others as well. Or, we refer each other as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I found Military OneSource earlier this year when I was doing my taxes. And it was so helpful and so easy. So I'm excited to learn more about what y'all do. So you serve
the entire state of North Carolina, because I work with active Guard and Reserve service members.
Oh, perfect.
And again, service providers, I know Guard and Reserve, they're usually dispersed locations, they're not near installations, and they don't know that there are so many resources available to them. They end up spending money, or they don't know where to go, what to do, because they don't know about these resources, and they think a lot of these programs are only for active, Then when I go and I brief them during their drill weekend or pre-deployment, post-deployment, and then they tell me, well, I didn't know that you guys offer education scholarship, or even the MELTAX. A lot of people do, even active service members. I just paid $300 to file my taxes because I didn't know. And the good thing with Military OneSource, you don't have to go anywhere. Our program is available, a lot of our consultations are virtual by phone or video sessions, and even service members that are deployed or stationed in another country, they can access Military OneSource. We have the live chat option, and we do have O'Connor's calling options as well. Yeah.
Awesome. And looking through your website, I saw that you serve military children as well, and teens, helping them find employment.
Yes, I'll talk about eligibility. So Military OneSource is for all active duty, Guard and Reserve, regardless of the activation status, because we have service members telling us well, I'm inactive. It doesn't matter. As long as your eligibility start from the day you start your military contract until it ends, and they have up to a year past separation to use Military OneSource, and they're immediate family members. We define immediate family members as anyone who's eligible for enrollment in DEERS, the Defense Enrollment Eligibility Reporting System. Some people know it as DEERS. And then in addition to that, unmarried survivor spouses and children can access Military OneSource. And in some cases, contractors and civilians can use it while they're activated, while they're deployed. So I always tell them, if you're not sure, just give us a call. We're available 24/7. We have our 800 number, and then our website, we have the live chat option that they can talk to and we have a great call center. They're not going to be pressing 1 or 2 or 3. As soon as they call, someone will talk to them. So yeah. And we do serve, the military children as well, because I think a lot of service members or spouses, they think it's only for, service member or spouses, but we do offer a lot for military children as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dave, who all is eligible to use your services?
We say basically the veteran community. So veterans, transitioning service members, Guard reservists, military spouses. After military spouses, that's kind of where the line draws. However, I'd be lying to you if I said I haven't talked to or spoken to a son or daughter or a grandparent, loosely related to them. But for the most part, military spouses is kind of where the cutoff line is.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to mention, like I know, I said our program is focused mainly on active guard and reserve, but we do offer a lot of resources for veterans as well. That's where our community resource finder comes in to play. And when I connect with you all, I add those organizations to our community resource finder, and they go through vetting process. We don't like to turn down anybody, when veterans call. We will refer them to other programs, and we'll provide them with information and resources as well. Because, the Department of Veterans Affairs is focused on veterans. We're focused more on active guard and reserve.
Yeah, we can do that now. Okay. I'm gonna, thank you, Salwa. I really appreciate that. We're gonna pause from the questions real quick. Paul has some data to share with us about employment in North Carolina.
All right, give me a second. Can you make it so I can share?
Yep, there you go.
Getting there. All right, somebody let me know when you can see that.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and this is just for the triangle, but I can I'll pull one screenshot and like put it in the chat, Landry, or email it to you and Brooke of statewide. So this is just the 9 counties that we tracked that comprise the triangle. This is 2024. There was 130 employment referrals done for veterans in the organizations that did them. And I want to show you where that lands on the second slide. If you look in the bottom right, where that lands when it comes to services that are being asked through the NC Serves network across this, in this case, the triangle, that is 21% of the veterans that come to us in a triangle are asking for some sort of employment services. And the last slide for sure is what I want to drive home. The point is, this is what addresses what's called co-occurring needs. So this is health equity or equity when it comes to access to resources. So when veterans are coming to us in the triangle area last year asking for employment, it's insane that the number is 52% of those veterans also needed some kind of housing assistance, 18% needed income support, and 10% needed some kind of individual and family support, which organizations like the Joel Fund and all that are right at the center of providing those kind of great services for that. So I'll stop, see if there's any questions. I just want to be brief. I'll send these over, Landry. I'll add one more statewide one. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Paul. So yeah, I'll include these slides in the follow-up email that I'll send to everybody. And I'll also include everybody's contact information so we can, everyone can connect. So Dave, my next question to you, what does it look like when a veteran comes to you for services? Do they self-refer? Are they referred to you by other organizations? What does it kind of look like through that process?
That's a really good question. The answer to all that is yes. So the great thing is we built, I would say, numerous and plenty of relationships across the state where people are referring candidates to us. We also have the ability through our partners, Onward Opportunity, the TRS, the Transition Readiness Seminars on bases, the TAPS on the Army bases, as well as connections on Seymour Johnson, where we have the ability to go in there and brief those transitioning service members on our services and what we can provide. Ultimately, when we do that, we invite them to go to our website and either apply kind of a two-pronged attack into our Career Connection 365 database or into our offline tool, which is our Career Connection tool via their military skills. So that gives them almost a near real-time impression of what they qualify in the state of North Carolina.
Thank you. So you partner with employers, right?
Yes.
So what does that kind of look like whenever you're kind of matching the veterans to the employers?
Okay. So usually what we like to do there is talk to their strategic business leader. So that helps us get buy-in at the lower level. Ultimately, because a recruiter's best friend is someone that's going to give them resumes all day long. But that information will usually stop at the recruiter level. But the higher we can start out with the general manager, vice president, we can get buy-in at the company level. That way there's a tendency to facilitate information transfer with those positions. In particular, we will advocate on the veterans because we will try to advocate those skills that they have, in particular HR, IT, cyber, logisticians, supply chain managers, not just the entry level roles, but the demographic we work with, usually late 30s, early 40s, is looking for a second career. So we try to build those relationships with companies that are hiring for those roles. So it's very important that when we talk to those companies, we vet that information out. So we're usually talking to an HR, a generalist or manager, a talent manager, something like that, that we can have the honest conversation about what that looks like for the roles. Because again, sometimes the assumption is that all military members do is shoot guns and drive tanks. So we constantly have to battle that as well. It's still ongoing, believe it or not. So we have to educate them there, but also showing them the best value of what hiring a veteran can really do for their company, which ultimately is driving the bottom line result.
That's great. Thank you. So what does it look like when a veteran calls in or self-refers looking for employment resources?
So because everyone's situation is different and unique, and everybody have different needs and different situation, so they have to call our 800-342-9647, because we serve people from all over the country and overseas. And a service member might retire or get out from Fort Bragg, but they're like, we're moving to Florida, so we would advise them to call Military OneSource, because we connect them with that specialty consultation. Because my part is like, I'm telling them what we offer. Then when they need a specific service, for example, employment consultation, either it's for service members, spouse, or children, they will have one-on-one, and because there's expertise in employment consultations. And then they will connect them with employers that hire veterans or military spouses. For example, this job, maybe I'm like, okay, I've done like maybe marketing, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. Like, I want to do something different. They might need this like certification or education, so we connect them with the other resources like education consultant that will provide them with like scholarships available for service members or spouses or children. Other organizations that pay for certification, like the Syracuse University pay for certification. We do have scholarship for spouses through my CAA. Up to $4,000, and then there are scholarship options for military children and service members as well. So they have to call our 800 number or use the live chat, because I'm not the expertise. You know what I mean? I'm like I educate them about the services we offer, and we do offer like a lot of specialty consultations.
Yeah, and that's really interesting too, because personally, I just have I have a lot of friends getting out this year that are moving out of state. And so that's really interesting. You're able to pair them with this other state resources.
Yes, and for me as a foreign-born spouse, like my documents all in different language. We offer free translation services. A lot of foreign-born spouses use our translation services to translate their school transcript, birth certificate, marriage license, or even if they have a child born overseas. And we do have a group for like the foreign-born military spouses. We do also have legal consultations as well. They help with immigration and legal matters. So that's what I'm saying, like a service member might come to us for specific like education. Like, okay, a foreign-born spouse, like you need translation services here. So we connect them with others, because usually when service members come to us for one issue, they're usually tied into another issues. So that's what I'm saying. We're a one-stop shop. We connect them with that specialty consultant. And as I mentioned, because our consultations are virtual, so they don't have to go anywhere. Like they can just call in if they prefer video sessions or phone call.
Okay, yeah.
Except the non-medical counseling, we offer 4 ways: by phone, video sessions, live chat, and off post in person.
That's awesome. So you kind of mentioned it. So the best way to get in touch with you is the 800 number.
No, for me, if you want to reach me, like service provider, like I've connected with like, Veterans Bridge Home. And for me, so the usual call is like, hey, I have a service member that is looking for, so and so. So I will give them like, a different like, resources. And then, but if the service member need to talk to someone like career coach, like one-on-one, so then they have to call the.
Okay.
Now they can call me if they want to ask questions, like like what do you guys offer? What do you? But if they wanted to get that specific service, they have to call the 800 number. But for service providers and like community partners, contact me.
Okay.
So we can work together on like how we can help, because you might call me for a specific service, then I would know, for example, NC for me, and I'm like, well, let me connect you with, I know this contact from, NC for me or Veterans Bridge Home, because you might need their services, so I connect you with different organizations or programs.
Okay, that's perfect. So I want to make sure I put in the right
Yeah.
links in our follow-up email. So I'll include your email, the Military OneSource website, and I'll put the 800 number in there too.
And for, anybody that want to be in my distro list, I send a monthly email about a different topic, because we do offer a lot and it gets overwhelming. So I pick a topic each month or every other month, and then I just send it. If you know someone that could benefit from it, just share it away.
Perfect, thank you.
So Ally had a question online, and I see that David answered it, but Ally was wondering, are there any restrictions on veterans your organization serves? For example, less than honorably discharged, time in service, or combat, non-combat? David, I see you you kind of answered a portion of it, but will you work with everyone regardless of how long they served and that sort of thing?
Sure. I mean, basically they're veterans. So at the end of the day, we want to help them find a meaningful career. So what that means is identifying companies that will look beyond that, because ultimately they do have the skills, they have soft skills that can drive bottom line results for a company. So we have identified a couple of companies, and those are delicate conversations to have with them, but they are out there and they're willing to work with those service members that have, for lack of a better term, some shortcomings in their careers, and they're not going to be judged on that one accident, but there's an opportunity out there for them. Just have to go out there and identify them for them.
The same question for you, everyone, regardless of.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, as long as they're enrolled in DEERS and they are, they have their contract with being in the service, and they have up to a year past separation. It doesn't matter, how they are discharged, they have up to a year past separation. Use Military OneSource.
What about medically retired?
So, as I said, like if you're retired, like you're getting out or retiring, you have up to a year past separation, because after that year, the Department of Veterans Affairs offer all kind of services, kind of similar to military. Of course, our program is more, like we do offer a lot more. And I just found out there are things that you might not even think about, like the Department of Veterans Affairs, they have a program for like IVF treatment. Like, and I didn't know that. We do have adoption consultation, but we don't have the IVF. And that comes a lot in a lot of my events, because you'd be surprised, like when I mention adoption, a lot of people are like, oh, I adopt my kid, or like, we're looking to adopt. So yeah, because I think a lot of people now are like waiting to pursue their career, their like education, and when they get to that age, and that's very common now. But yeah, so, and if you're not sure, always just reach out to me and I will like let you know. And sometimes I might find you like topics or articles that from, the Department of Defense. And that's all on our website as well. If you ever want, like looking for a specific topic, type in a keyword in the search bar and you will find all kind of information. You guys, like as a service provider, can use Military OneSource. We have a mail provider tab that you can look for topics, look for information, because this is all like Department of Defense updates, information. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank
I
you.
have a follow-up question that you said a year when they get out. What about Guard and Reserve?
Same, doesn't matter, like active Guard and Reserve, when they are done with their military obligation, they have up to a year past that separation. Yeah, so Guard and Reserve and active, they all have the same, yeah.
Yes, that's really good. I've never realized that, so that's really good piece of information to know.
Yeah, that is. Dave, what would be the best way for the people in this room to refer veterans and service members and families to you?
Yeah, I would recommend just simply info@ncforme.org, because ultimately that information, depending on the question, service requested, it's going to come across either my desk or Lynn's as well. And we'll make sure that service member or employer, whoever it may be, is going to get the right information. So the great thing is, to Salwa's point, ultimately they're dealing with a human being, which is great. So they're going to get an answer relatively pretty quick and help them move in the right direction.
Okay, awesome. It's info@ncforme.org.
Yep. Somebody dropped it in there. Yep.
I think
Thank
Allie.
you, Allie. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Allie. Okay, awesome. So Dave, another question. Right now, what are some gaps or struggles that you've identified, working with employment for service members and veterans and their families, that we can all kind of work to minimize or just bring to light?
How much time do I have?
I know,
Hopefully
it's a big
everybody already ate too, which is good. So no, I'll try to keep this short and sweet. And then as I address this question, I know Lynn's not on camera, but she's probably going to laugh. But us in particular, NC for me, we keep orbiting around the word education. So that means the employer, the candidate, whatever it may be, it's educating them on what's available, how to link up with military talent, more importantly, because most companies just don't know how to build that bridge. And everyone nowadays, the buzzword across the state of workforce development. So they're going to the high schools, the community colleges, set up these routes, but also they don't know there's organizations right here on this call that can start building those bridges to them. Now, the flip side, on the candidate side, and Lynn and I had an opportunity to speak to General Anderson a couple months ago, and he used this term daringly, and it was you have to treat your service member like they're going to kindergarten again. And it's not the media jab, but it's the education process on a whole new way of life. Because for so long they've been used to talking to people a certain way, dealing with things a certain way, and now when they're outside of the wire, for lack of better terms, it's a whole new way of life. They got to work on the communication, how they sell themselves, because most militaries spend 20 years frowning and being frustrated. Now they got to be smile and be likable. So all those things come into play. So it's constantly revolving around the educational piece on our side. And ultimately, with all these veteran service organizations online here, finding better ways to, I would say, communicate. For example, we had a call earlier with an organization, just trying to find parallel ways that we can communicate where it takes out some of the middlemen and things are getting labored down or bogged down with just middlemen. So some things like that go a long way, I think. So.
So do y'all help them, kind of like reframe and learn how to, apply what they know to the civilian jobs?
Yes, and one of the ways we do that, and I'm gonna, give Victoria a shout out here. So one of our partners is Work for Warriors. So when they come to our website, they can apply for assistance there. So Victoria and the team there, I mean, they're great. They're always at our events. They're helping them with resume review, career counseling. What I love about them is that they're so dug into their communities. Oftentimes we see a great value or a great bridge to employment opportunities because that team is so dug in with their community. So we always refer them there. And it's always great because you talk about the feedback loop. Keith there in particular, who runs the program there, always provides amazing feedback to us. And we have great relationships with them. And, they do a lot of heavy lifting for the veterans out there. And we just love working for them.
Thank you. Salwa, what are some gaps and struggles that you've identified?
Okay, because I write the state plan each year to identify the need of our state and bridge those gaps. And depending on where you are, the state is big. And like, for example, active service members. Spouse unemployment and underemployment is huge. So I try to focus on spouse and underemployment or unemployment around military installations because we have a lot of spouses that have like great, credentials, experience, and it's hard to find employment, even though there are a lot of organizations now, for me, Veterans Bridge Home, and there are companies that have like hiring teams just to hire military spouses, but it's still like they're just like our, military community is big. For Guard and Reserve on like the western part of North Carolina, they're like smaller town. Again, like for service members, active Guard and Reserve, unemployment, financial is huge because financial is tied into underemployment or unemployment, education as well. And another thing that the state family program mentioned that like in the Western North Carolina, they have a lot of homelessness issue for Guard and Reserve service members. They are struggling with providing basic needs, like example, soap, shampoo and stuff like that, basic needs. So it really depends on where in North Carolina. So that's why, I go and to these meetings to hear, and I love hearing feedback from all of you. I like working with everybody. And I always tell all the programs, we're not here to compete with anybody. We're all here. Our purpose is to serve service members and their families. And I'm constantly referring. I use NC for me and Veterans Bridge Home and hiring our hero a lot because when a spouse come to me or a service member, I'm like, don't just use THICO program or unemployment, the employment consultation. Contact everybody and see, because you know what, for example, Dave might have one that just contacted him, like, I have this job, and he might be able to connect him with him. he can talk to our education and employment consultation as well, but I always tell them, it's like, always explore your options. Just don't stick with one program. Just connect with everybody and see what you can get. Like, and another thing I tell spouses a lot, while you're waiting for this perfect, like, job, volunteer, put yourself out there, volunteer, and like, open doors for you. Like, you put yourself out there, people know you, and then they will refer you to these, like, jobs. And I got that a lot because I volunteered with the Red Cross when I first moved. And, while I was waiting, and then I can put it in my resume. That's an experience that I have. I tell them just connect, go to hiring events, volunteer. So there is a lot of need, especially now too. Like, a lot of people are losing their job. We try, but it's just, there's a lot of people unemployed, underemployed, so that's one thing. So at the end, that would be like a financial issue. Then if they don't have, they're struggling financially, it's hard for them to provide for themselves and their families, paying bills, housing and stuff like that.
Paul has a question. Paul, go ahead.
Got more of a comment. You couldn't be more spot on about the volunteering. Many in the room know Kat Dugan locally. I think Kat has really changed her life by first volunteering within the community and being a supporter and not necessarily asking for anything at first, just getting herself connected to a network of resources. And she is really crushing it. And it's just such a good example of what you just said is sometimes, sure, I need help, sure, I need a job, but how can I also help within my community? And it's a little self-fulfilling. Yeah, it's going to help me get a job, but it also, just like we say about LinkedIn and other things, you got to build your network physically too, not just on LinkedIn. So thank you for that comment.
Yeah, I lived it. I moved to Fayetteville the day after my wedding.
It's hard, you probably know.
With no job or anything lined up, and that's exactly what I did. As I started volunteering, I found places like Sustainable Sandhills. I'd go out and pick up trash and meet people, and I'd go to I volunteered at the Dogwood Festival, serving beer, and that was really great. And got to meet a lot of people that worked in Fayetteville and put on all these cool events. So that's exactly what I did.
You learn something new too. Like a lot of spouses, they're like, well, I don't have experience in this, but I want to do, like, for example, outreach. Like, start volunteering because that's the experience you'll get. And I think before that, I've always done like project management and stuff, and like office work. I did outreach with the Red Cross, and and then you find out about like what you like, really, So,
yeah, exactly. I love that.
David made a comment, the Wilmington Business Journal just published that 80% of roles are filled via networking.
Yeah, so network, and then network some more. And then the other side to that too is also saw between 70 and 75% of the roles are never published. So again, it's all about who you know. Referrals in the company pay off big time, or having, what I like to tell candidates is having an ambassador in a space that will go out there and advocate on your behalf and open up doors.
Yeah, that's what I see a lot. While my husband is not close to getting out, he's trying to prepare for it in the next few years, and that's exactly what I've been telling him is, go on LinkedIn, find the people that have the job you want or work for the company that you want, and just connect with them and start the conversation. So that's what I see a lot.
A lot of people don't know how the resume should be too, especially younger, spouses or even service members. I mean, with the applicant tracking system, they know, because back in the day, we all have like this one resume. You make like 10 copies or whatever, like 20, and you just like give everybody. Now I'm like, I didn't know, because when I moved here, it was the same. Like, I was applying, I'm like, it gets frustrating, especially like, you don't hear back, and it's all about who you know too. Like, someone, at least you can connect with them, you can follow up, they can connect you with this hiring manager. And I still hear that from spouses. They're like, well, they didn't know that their resume should be a certain way, like even the format, because the applicant tracking system would not read it if it's not, and then if you put, back in the day, you put your name and your address in the header, it would not read that. People don't know that. So that's why I tell them, it's like, just connect, like attend these like workshops, learn about like, you know, how your resume should be, hiring events, connect with the recruiters. It will take a while sometimes, but you'll just have to, you know, meet people and learn from others. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Antonio, y'all host like resume building workshops.
So today we hosted a LinkedIn, Victoria was there, headshots. We do resume workshops, information sessions. Me, I'm coming from the employment space like Randy Silver, so I did 3 years at NC Works, so I'm gonna give them a plug as well. They host a little of everything. One thing about networking through LinkedIn, don't ever talk to the person and say, hey, how did you get your job? When you open that conversation, like, hey, I'm such and such, and maybe give an elevator speech. And then I start off when I reach out, I was like, hey, what are some of the shortfalls in your company that need to be filled? Because I have A, B, and C talent, and I just want to know if there is a position or a group within there that can handle those situations. Because sometimes asking is too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, what's in it for that person to answer that email? So you got to figure out, you know, how to get in your foot into the door. So I think I'll try to, you know, that's me. I give my elevator speech, but I never ask it for, hey, who's the point of contact in outreach? I don't care, you know, because I know once I get my foot in the door, I'm going to meet those people. But I see now, you know, in today's market, when it comes to employment, there's so many different avenues. Like you said, like the applicant tracking system, you know, I am good on ChatGPT, Gemini, AI, anything AI now. I'm trying to learn it so I can do resumes or help a veteran do resumes. But the good thing about, you know, our organization, we have Craig Weimer, I think he did work for NC for me. We partnered with NC for me. They host amazing events at NC State. I wish they would switch to UNC or Duke, you know what I'm saying, instead of NC State, but it is what it is. But they have some great events and we have some great organizations, and just use us, just like military OneSource. You just use us and we're connected to the right resources.
Yeah, because USO also helped with resume, hiring our hero. So hiring our hero helped me with my resume, which is like nice, you know, because I just sometimes, especially when you're like, you've done this job for so long and you're just like new in the market, like, I don't know where to start. I'm like, just talk to someone. One of us would tell you what to do or where to go. But you know, the problem is like, is this, that a lot of people don't know how to approach somebody, you know, I mean, what do you have for me? You know, like how to, but you know, I mean, that's when we guide them. Like you tell them, I was like, hey, you know, how about just search out someone, do your research, attend like how to, like these workshops and how to do the elevator speech, how to, you know, write an email even, you know. So
all the stuff we do at Work for Warriors.
Good.
And I think one more thing, you have to be relevant. Like if you're, you know, I am in my 40s. So what may have happened 10 years ago might not be the right approach now. So I think for me is staying up to date with new labor markets, the new trends. You know, another thing that we can tell veterans when they're transitioning is say, look, go to the BLS website and then find out where the top 10 agencies or companies that are coming to this area, and see if you have some relevant skill sets that maybe attract their talent pool. Because, you know, if you don't stay relevant, you don't get passed over. You're gonna be one of those veterans that's putting 400 or 500 applications out there every week and not getting callbacks because there's something wrong in your process. And if you don't figure it out, you're gonna be one of those disgruntled ones that's gonna need so many other resources because, you know, you just got passed over.
Yeah. I'm gonna pass it over to Yesenia online.
Just want to throw my my organization out there. I work with Hire Heroes USA. We are a nonprofit nationally. Just like all the other organizations here, we're there for one purpose. Together, we help empower each military veterans, veteran transitioning service members, and military spouses secure that employment. The way we approach it is on one-on-one counseling. So that veteran or that client gets assigned one transition specialist, that's what we call them, and they walk them from start to finish. They follow up on a month-to-month basis until they get hired. Now, because there is so many little niche, you know, how you speak to senior enlisted or senior officers is different than how you would approach a an E4 or an E2. The way they set up their times or the way they understand certain things, it's a little, you know, a little different. So we got to find that little niche, you know? So we have established different programs within Hire Heroes where we try to match them. Here you go, you're an E4 and below. Here you go to this transition specialist, which they're trained and they know, okay, they do a little bit more taxing, a little bit more things where the younger crowd does. Then you go to the military spouse program. They know everything about military spouses, their struggles, maybe certifications. I work in the federal sector, so you want to find federal employment, you'll come to me and I teach them from start to finish and how the federal system works, not only from the resume, but how to apply veterans preference, special hiring authorities, and the 180-day waiver and all this stuff. So just wanted to throw out there, you know, yes, use all the other resources because we're all here for one thing and Hire Heroes is just one of many. So just appreciate your time.
Thank you. I do want to add to the problem now that I see a lot with the spouses, employers don't pay enough. They want, this high qualification. I want you to have bachelor's, master's degree, 10 years of experience, and they tell, especially spouses, $12, $15 an hour. And it just with the inflation and everything, it's just very hard. Spouses, as I said, they work very hard on their education, they have experience, but they just a lot of employers don't pay, good. Or you know what I mean? So that's just the hard part.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it.
Everywhere.
I got 15 years experience in A, B, C, and D. I just need to get to the interview.
And it's just, then sometimes I tell people try to get your foot in the door, because once you're within a company too, then it will help. Maybe you can explore other opportunities. When I was looking for a job, I thought I'll take, a job until it's better than doing nothing while I'm waiting for the other job. But that's one thing I just kind of the sad part is they don't pay well, with the requirement that they have. I'm oh, we want you to have this, I want you to have that. And the pay is not good. It's for, spouses and in specific. So,
and then they have to kind of pick up their lives and relocated.
The spouses have to.
I hear about that all.
They have to quit their job, reset every time. That's why a lot of spouses probably it's hard for them to kind of progress in their position or career, because they just have to start all over again every time they move. And it's just there's always a gap, because they're not gonna find a job right away when they move somewhere. And I have spouses told me that they've been unemployed for a year, 8 months, a year, some of them 2-3 years. So, and by the time it's fine, because they're oh, I finally found a job, and they have to move again. So yeah, that's one issue. I just wanted. I do focus on military spouses because I have this first-hand experience, but also I'm around active military installation, Guard and Reserve. That's mainly the service member and their spouses as well. But in a location like this, Raleigh, or Wake Forest, there are more opportunities, but for people who are in for to brag, that's a bit of a drive for them, So yeah, I take a low paying job than driving every day, 3 hours of my life wasted. It's time I want to spend with my family too, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I want to give Victoria a chance to speak about her upcoming event.
Yes. And we appreciate the support, NC for me. We are having a job fair. It's actually a hiring event. We're having workshops from 8 to 12, very useful workshops, sponsored by OBTT. And then from 12 to 4, we're having an in-person job fair. And right now we have, I have a sheet with the employers. I'm gonna send that to you, Landry, to share. But there have been 4 or 5 things added since this was done. So right now we're at, I think, 33 employers. 33 or 34. We're very excited about that. Some really good employers. We've asked that people have actual positions to come. I'm hoping that we're all honest about this. We actually had a couple turn us down because they said we're not hiring right now, and I appreciated that. So again, please spread the word with your other candidates you're working with. And it is for, service members, veterans, and all dependents. So, please spread the word, and share this flyer. It's Thursday from 12 to 4 at Joint Force Headquarters, National Guard Joint Force Headquarters in Rome.
That's great.
This Thursday? This Thursday.
I have a question for you, because I had a veteran that doesn't have an ID. So to get on there, if they do the RSVP, does their name get on the list, or they still need to show,
They're still gonna ask them for ID. They have no ID?
not a military ID?
Yeah, that building
Yes,
is
driver's
security.
license?
Yes.
Okay, they should have picture ID.
My driver's license.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need military ID.
Okay, got it, thank you.
I don't need military.
I was gonna say, I was gonna.
I
ask
thought
you
they
earlier
needed
about that.
military.
Yeah, no,
of course.
They do need to, it would be helpful to register because that'll speed things up at the gate. We're gonna give them a list or things get really backed up at the gate. So pre-register does help, but just make sure you do have a picture ID and,
All right, I'll add the registration link in here.
Okay, great, thanks.
Carla has a question in the chat.
Yeah, so Carla was asking, she works in the homeless sector and sometimes she has a hard time getting buy-in from veterans. That getting some pay until you get where you want to be is better than no pay. So is there any advice or tips on ways to approach this?
One thing I tell, because I have that come up a lot, is it's easier to get a job when you have a job.
Yeah.
So take that entry-level job, take that stepping stone job, but it's always easier to get a job when you have a job. It's
Can I
always
add
easier.
something to that?
Yes, please.
And that was a really good point too. And to Victoria's point, I always start off my brief with that the average person spends about 5 years in a job searching activity. And that usually freaks people out, but ultimately just to kind of create a sense of urgency, start kind of getting after it and finding a career. But that's, yeah, something, a good point to take into consideration is that, helping them manage their own expectations. Because one of our teammates here, Nancy, for me, when she reaches out for the new intake, that's one of the things she does really well is kind of paint a picture from what can they expect from us and what we should expect from them. That way it kind of helps navigate that conversation in a more positive direction. And ultimately, again, the end state is try to get them to a good job. But and one example I use, talking to service members all the time now, the number one career they're looking for is project management. So talking to people in the space, they recommend or to encourage them to kind of pop that bubble of entitlement and not go for the very high end, but accept a role, maybe an associate project manager or something a little bit lower, learn the ropes. Within a year and a half, they're going to outpace their civilian counterparts. So they're going to get promoted and ultimately they're going to get where they want to go. So something to think about in a conversation like that as well. So when they're just holding out for that number one position, because ultimately they don't know the business acumen side, but they do know project management, but coming a little bit lower level.
That's good advice. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So thank you, Salwa and Dave, for joining us today to share about your organizations. I want to kind of open up to the room for any announcements. Any upcoming events, other than the hiring event we just talked about?
Hey, Landry, I saw email traffic. I know, Brooke, you probably saw it, that they're officially moving ahead with the Cary VA Benefits Live 18, 19, 20 September. I saw email from Richard
Yeah, I
Stinson.
don't know if it was official. He said that they were officially moving forward with the planning, but they hadn't gotten the official.
Yeah, I got,
Was my
yeah, so,
interpretation.
yeah, it might, yeah, because I saw the director, Mark Belos, and he said it's happening. So I think,
Okay,
yeah, I think like pencil it in, but yeah, Brooke,
Yeah.
you're right. Your point, we probably need to wait a month or a couple of weeks for him to have his first initial meetings to put it out.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's great. It's great news with everything going on.
Yes.
Isabel.
I'm always gonna share about our Operation Art classes and workshops here at the Joel Fund, either in person or virtually. Our summer schedule is, registration is live, and classes for the summer schedule will start May 12th. So there's still time to register and join lots of one-day workshops over a weekend, or some multi-week classes through, different days and times. So, that'll be hopefully included in the follow-up email. And if you have any questions, always send me an email. Happy to answer.
Awesome. We are hosting Bags and Barbecue on Saturday. We're so excited. It'll be from 12 to 5. There's still time to get your tickets. We're gonna have some great barbecue, lots of family-friendly activities, music, bounce house, cornhole. So that'll be a lot of fun. So join us. I'll include the registration link. We're also looking for maybe a handful of more volunteers. So if anyone has some like high school aged kiddos that want to volunteer on Saturday, I can include that link as well. HBOT for Heroes is hosting a fundraiser. They're not really hosting it. It's at Texas Roadhouse next week on April 17th.
Here in Wake Forest.
In Wake Forest. So anytime from 3 to 10 p.m. if you want to go get some food at Texas Roadhouse, you will be benefiting HBOT for Heroes.
What?
HBOT for Heroes.
It's hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It's pretty amazing.
Tomorrow, we are also hosting our data party. It'll be from 8 to 9:30 hybrid. So we'll have breakfast here from 8 to 8:30, and then the hybrid portion will be from 8:30 to 9:30. We'll be talking about our impact survey results and discussing that and kind of collaborating with you all that make up the Joel Fund. So this will be really fun. If you come in person, we'll have snacks. It'll be great. Isabel will be leading it in person. I'll be leading it online.
Lots of fun activities.
We're gonna have a lot of fun.
You need to bring some activities to us there, Fort Bragg.
It's hybrid.
You can join us virtually. I know, right? But I'm saying like for families, it's something you guys can discuss in the future.
Our next Vmfa meeting will be on May 13th. This will be a mission briefing. So we will have a presentation from legal aid. And that'll be really exciting. Other than that, we'll also have another special VMFA meeting on July 8th. That is our next Veterans Housing Symposium. And I'll include all of this in our follow-up email.
Lots of good links being dropped in the chat. We'll make sure they go in the follow-up email too.
Thank you.
Sorry, we are supporting a huge event that's going on up at Virginia International Raceway up near Danville. I was kind of explaining it before we started. Operation Motorsport is putting on, it's called the Veterans Race of Remembrance. Operation Motorsport takes active duty or veterans who are having a hard time transitioning, and they place them on a racing team, and they have proven that this is helping them serve a purpose and get them back into the brotherhood. These are two major things that military and veterans are missing when they transition into the career field, into the civilian career field. But they have, it's a 3-day race. It's November 7th, 8th, and 9th. And the 9th is the pinnacle of the race. They're gonna have a flyby, which we're helping them coordinate with all that stuff. Hopefully we're gonna have National Guard out there with cannons, and it's gonna be a really cool event. I'll share the Operation Motorsport with you guys.
Awesome.
But we're gonna go out there and support that, and how you guys can help that is help get the word out about that. Because it's real close to home, like an hour away.
That's awesome. That sounds fun.
Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, I want to give a shameless plug for Operation Motorsport myself. We've, when I worked with USO in North Carolina, we worked very close with them through our Pathfinder program. Brooke, you probably remember Pathfinder, but I would just encourage, it's something different. It's fun. It's exciting. And just check it out. And if you look on LinkedIn, their executive director, her name is Tiffany Loader, Lodder, Tiffany. She'd be willing to talk to any organizations, Brooke, come on a call, something like that. She's amazing, and they get a great program, and it really changes lives for veterans in that kind of program. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll wrap it up. We'll see you on May 13th.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Thank you. I just put in the organization name and their contacts and share the.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, good.
you'll have, it'll be a good PDF.
Okay, good. So I can.
I have a question. So you said they don't have this. They have a community blueprint in Fayetteville with Al Giselle. They hope.
No, I meant like,
Oh, I see.
activities that they're like doing. Like paying car